All right. Welcome to the You're a Tourist podcast, where we get very serious and share a laugh or two about all the good, the bad, and the ugly parts of tourism that you may or may not have ever even thought about. I'm your host, Katie Dudley, and today we're going to be talking about the state of West Virginia. Ha ha! And joining me for this topic today is a writer and performer who grew up in the outdoor sports paradise of West Virginia and made his way to Los Angeles. On the way, though, he has visited 41 other states and 3 different countries. Please welcome to the show, Nick Griffith.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm Nick. I'm from Charleston, West Virginia originally, and living out here in Los Angeles now. And just a lot of great memories from growing up in such a beautiful state.
Yeah, not too much different, right, between LA and West Virginia. People,
it's totally the same, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, West Virginia, we have a lot of women named Juanita. But they're all like older white ladies. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Crazy how that works. Yeah.
And you can't find a good pepperoni roll anywhere in LA. Like it's
I'm saying of all the food, the foodies out here want to say that LA's got it all. Yeah, where the goddamn pepperoni rolls. if you're gonna be talking about good food. Okay. Well, Nick. The first thing I like to do with all of my guests, just to kind of get us in the mindset, remind us who we're talking about, what they're capable of, we like to play a little game called Tourists in the News.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the rules of the game are simple. I'm going to read a headline. And you're going to tell me, I'm going to leave part of it out, and you're going to tell me what the tourist was doing to get in trouble. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so all these tourists have done, well, we'll just say tourist things.
This is not a good list to get on, though, right?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like...
Yeah, I don't think anywhere down the line it's going to be a point of pride for someone.
so there's no like award, like congratulate. Okay, cool.
No, this is you're never going to get the world's best tourist.
The world's worst tourist.
Right, exactly. Oh, and we've already had some that could qualify. Okay, so you can also have up to 3 questions to kind of clarify to help you make your guess. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start out on the first one. Drunk Brit backpacker who was 23 forced to make groveling apology after doing what in Thailand? So, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So he got, so he's in Thailand, right? So it's just an apology. So it couldn't have been something too egregious, because otherwise he's in Thailand. And I don't know that it would have been just an apology if it was something.
That's true.
Does it involve an animal?
No.
Okay.
No animals were hurt in this action.
Does it involve a local custom?
No.
Oh, this is tough. How seriously do they take food in Thailand?
I don't know. Off the top of my head.
I am stumped.
You're stumped?
I'm going to throw a random guess out there.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to say that he was a British tourist. He didn't pay his bus fare.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. I think you get points for creative answer on that. The answer is stripping naked and flashing other tourists.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's,
so,
I don't see that one in a guidebook like that.
No. Yeah. So a drunk Brit backpacker was forced to make a groveling apology after stripping naked and flashing tourists in Thailand.
So He just straight up just did that? There wasn't like any other there was more to it. Oh.
Well, no, he just straight up did that. Yeah.
No drugs
So,
wow.
well, just drinking. Yeah.
Oh.
Careful, folks. Drink in moderation. Keep your clothes on. Yes, it says I've got a name. I've got a triple name here. We're gonna middle name him even. Joseph William Kershaw, 23, was seen stripping off his clothes in front of other tourists as they posed for pictures in southern Thailand.
Wow.
So he was seen in a video of the incident cupping his crotch in front of a large group, unfazed by the passing motorists.
Wow.
So he was actually arrested. But they just, yeah.
What was his name again?
Joseph William Kershaw.
Yeah, he sounds like a streaker. Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah. I just knew that's a streaker's name.
Yeah,
for sure.
Joe. Yeah, because he goes by Joey.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, Joey. Once he gets past the 7th, you can't keep his clothes on him. You can't.
No.
Yeah.
He's 3/4 of the way through the 7th.
I know. It's like, guys, we got to get him home. We got to get Joey home. Yeah. So then, what makes it even, I don't know. You want to feel bad for the guy because we've all been too drunk at times, but.
What?
Yeah. What? Yeah. I've only been the appropriate amount of drunk. But yeah, he says, speaking in a video at the police station, Kershaw said, "I'm ashamed. I'm very sorry to all the people. I was very drunk." Like, what a hangover. Yeah. Like, you just have no idea. You wake up in a police station and you're like, now we have to get a video apology of you because, buddy, you stripped naked.
Like, how do you live that down? Like your buddies are always you're gonna be, remember that time? Like, you're in Thailand. We can't take this dude anywhere.
Yeah. And then when you're like, that never happened, it's like, actually, it was international news. Actually, we have video. Yeah. The world saw it, not just those people. Yeah. Okay, we're coming back. We're coming back to the U.S. Most of my headlines involve national parks, so we couldn't not do it on this one. So this one's a twofer, though. There's 2 blanks. So you can get one or you can get both. Man arrested at Yellowstone for allegedly what while what? So he was allegedly what was he doing while what?
Does this involve an adult situation?
Oh, no.
Okay, good. Because
I was like, an adult is in there, but no, I get it. No.
Yeah, Yellowstone. That would have been there's a lot you could do wrong, I think. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that there was some sort of chemical thing. I'm just gonna assume that. Let's see. So he got arrested for blank. I'm gonna go. Well, we already did one with a naked person. You wouldn't double
That's
up.
True. I wouldn't double up on naked.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna guess that he was feeding a bear while fishing.
Oh, well, wouldn't that just be a great story, though? Just a man with nature, just sharing a fish.
A big old picnic basket.
Yeah, him and the bear just having a nice meal together.
Yeah, I'm wrong.
No, you are.
That's okay.
Now, I wouldn't double up on nakedness, but I'll always double up on drunkenness.
Okay.
Yeah. So the headline, exactly. The headline is "Man arrested at Yellowstone for allegedly kicking bison while drunk."
What?
Yeah.
That's brave.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Those will stomp you. That's
Yeah. Yeah. So Clarence Yoder, which, I don't know. I feel like that's
He
a little,
sounds like a
what is
kicker.
it?
He sounds like a
Right.
kicker. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Well, and I feel like that's like an Amish name. Maybe he was on, what is it? Rumspring? When it's
Yeah.
like get him under control.
I've always wanted to do this. Like, they never let me.
They wouldn't let me. Yeah. So he approached a bison about 7 miles from the park's west entrance in Montana. And rangers responded after receiving a report that someone had harassed a herd of bison and kicked a bison in the leg.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Wow.
He was taken, so he had minor injuries, and it says he was transported to a nearby medical facility
Wow.
where he was evaluated, but then he was transported to the Gallatin County Detention Center. We take our bison seriously there in Montana.
Yeah.
You can't be kicking them.
I can't
You
believe
can't be.
that. Like, why do you even think that's a good idea? Like, those things are huge.
Right.
Just be like,
And
oh,
and what's going on in your life that you're just like, I'm so goddamn mad. Look at that guy. It's just sitting there staring at me. I'm going to go kick it. Like, oh my
looking at this
gosh.
the wrong way. Like, yeah, like that guy's got problems. Like, he's,
Yeah.
we need to be concerned about this kicker. Like, he's
Right. Maybe that was a cry for help.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like, no one will take me seriously. I'm going to go kick a bison.
And again,
So the Park Service listeners out there warned you, don't you worry, warned you that bison are unpredictable and can run 3 times faster than humans. So 3 times faster than humans. I mean, I don't run. Most things can run 3 times faster than me, but
yeah, it's probably 4 or 5 times for me. Like, I don't move very fast.
I'm like, is this 3 times faster than like what is it? Bolt? What was his name?
Usain Bolt or whatever.
Usain Bolt. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
okay.
Those things are, yeah. That's
Anytime I need to find headline fodder, I can just go to the national parks. People just do not. They don't know how to act in the national parks.
It's like the bus stop of of tourism. No.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody just goes, does their own thing. Nobody knows what they should be doing. People have made some bad decisions to get there.
Yeah.
Okay. Last, certainly not least, this one is actually...
I gotta get this one.
Right. And this one is kind of blowing up right now. So maybe you've heard of it, but I just thought it's so stupid every time I hear it that I wanted to include it. So the headline is, Third American Tourist Arrested for Bringing What to Turks and Caicos? It's the third time, and by now I think there's more than 3. Third time this keeps happening.
Did they bring a vape pen with them or something?
Oh, well, that's a good guess. That's very American. This is maybe a little bit more American.
Oh, they smuggle in some McDonald's or something? Like, if you're in embargo, like, you're not allowed to have a Big Mac here. Like,
they're like, get your shit food out of here. Like, you guys. No, the answer is bullets.
oh,
Bullets.
That is a violently American.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why do you just like have a pocket full of bullets? Like, that's like, I can't go without these extra bullets. Like,
exactly. So I've got a few ideas on that, and then I've got what they say happened. So it says a third American tourist has been arrested in Turks and Caicos.
Wow.
Yeah. For allegedly bringing ammunition to the island. So this guy is Virginia, right next door to where we're going to be talking about, is facing up to 12 years in prison after officials at a security checkpoint found 2 bullets in his suitcase.
Wow.
So this guy, the poor guy who, accidentally brought bullets, says, it was found in my checked luggage after a random search, and my family was essentially just whisked away without even really having the chance to say goodbye or explain what was going on.
Wow.
So Turks and Caicos has a law like they are really trying to cut down on gun violence and everything else. So they have a very strict law of you can't have ammunition. And so if you get caught when you get there, and all these Americans, like, apparently we're all just flying so much with bullets up there that people are forgetting that it's in their luggage. That's been for every single one of these cases, that's been the argument of like, well, how was I supposed to know? It was left over from a hunting trip.
I
don't know.
One out there that I have accidentally had a bullet casing stuck in a shoe. When I was flying, I was working on a show that had like they used like live ammo on some stuff, and so you're just like out there stomping, and you're just too tired at the airport. And I'm like, oh, there is a bullet stuck in my shoe.
Okay,
Not a live round though. That's still nuts.
I was like, there you go. You're telling. See, I was so quick.
But no, that's still ridiculous. It was still embarrassing. I couldn't imagine being like, oh yeah, I have a bullet, like a fully ready.
Yeah. And it is. And these, like, they're not taking it lightly. Yeah, these folks are over there in jail indefinitely. Wow. And it's like, and I think that's part of, you know, a little bit with tourism, with tourists, and especially whenever we go. I'm not just poo-pooing on Americans, but when Western tourists kind of go to these island destinations and stuff, we kind of act like the laws aren't real.
Oh,
it's like, well, yeah.
Like,
it's like they absolutely are.
About a year ago, my wife and I were on our honeymoon. We went to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, and one of the most visible family that was at this whole resort was the family you do not want to represent the United States of America. They are the definition of loud, rude American tourists. And it was to the point where we felt bad, where we're like throwing up the tips because we're sitting across and we're like, we're not them.
You're like trying to put on a fake accent.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not.
I'm from Canada, eh? And it was bad enough. These people were so loud. We go to this show, and it's they do it in Espanol as well as English. The MC's like shouting out to different places. Yeah, we got anybody here from Guatemala? Anybody from Honduras? And everybody's cheering. They go, we got anybody from the United States of America? And like there's audible boos.
Oh no!
Yeah. They're like, boo.
Oh no!
And that family's just like, yeah,
hell yeah, they love us.
Yeah, I don't know like what settlement or lottery they won. But,
right.
But it was embarrassing, man. Like that was like I hadn't traveled internationally like that in that situation before, and just seeing that and the way that they treated the staff of this place, which like that's a hard thing to kind of make amends with, as well as how the treatment of that works. But all the people that are there were really excited to be at that particular resort. And so, but that doesn't give you an excuse to be like, I don't want that green shit. This ain't Mexican food. Like, it's a taco. Where's the cheese? Like,
right. Exactly. Yeah, that's where I get with sometimes when everybody's like, because, and I've talked about this in other episodes, but it's just like, it's the thing to do right now as we curate our identities on social media. It's like, everyone's like, I'm just a traveler of the world. Yeah. I was like, are you? I'm just a student of the world. Are you? Or do you go to Senior Frogs in every resort destination? And then you just like, I've done shots in 7 countries. Nice job.
Yeah, no, we were like a hard rock resort. It's not authentic.
Yeah,
we know that. Like, we're gonna try to get the most. We don't want to find out if McDonald's tastes the same in every place.
Right. Right. All right, Nick. Yeah. Well, let's jump into the topic of the day. So we just met very recently, our little West Virginia connection. I was hosting, you were in the Uncle Clyde's comedy contest there at Flappers in Burbank. So my experience, my relationship with West Virginia is, I was a raft guide there on the new, so we can say on the Golly if anybody knows and I need street cred, but I didn't really guide on the Golly. I was too scared.
See, yeah, that's some inside baseball right there.
Exactly.
We were talking
The Golly.
before about how being a raft guide is like a secret society.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, a little inside baseball there. But yeah, I mean, I went and it was around 2008 that I went there and worked, but I did just kind of fall in love with it. Came back when I met my husband there.
Oh, wow.
Then we moved away and I went back to the rafting company and worked in marketing there. We got married there.
Like
we were,
wow.
We got married.
Wow.
Yeah, in the church in Oak Hill.
Oh, that's beautiful.
St. Peter and Paul. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that's so it's like, but primarily then I have seen, even though I live there and stuff like that, like we were talking about before we started, the raft guiding community there and stuff, that in and of itself is kind of a bubble.
Yeah.
It is primarily made up of people who have come in and moved there and fell in love and made it their home and stuff like that. But West Virginia just kind of there's all kinds of different ways we can tease this out, right? It's got some image issues. It's got some real issues.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to double down on tourism to take over for coal, but like it just can't catch so many different things where it's just like but it's so beautiful and the people are so great.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I'm like, I just want to get yours. So tell the listeners a little bit. So you're born and raised West Virginia,
born
right?
and raised in West Virginia. I'm originally from Charleston. I went to school at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. That's Marco, the buffalo, is the
there you go.
So that's relevant to it. Yeah. Different animal than a bison.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, don't kick it.
It rides a motorcycle, but no.
Oh, there you go. It's a badass.
So yeah, I grew up there. I was in the Boy Scouts. So we went backpacking and traveling and adventuring all over the state. And it really is like an outdoor sports paradise. You know, of course, like my hobbies are like collecting vinyl and playing Magic cards. So you know, I do enjoy the outdoors, not the way I used to. Because I think I've just done so much of that. I'm like, oh, I've been to that park and that park and that park and that park. I've seen that, and like that's not the best way to approach going out and relaxing in nature. It's not like a competition.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, you've been where? Oh, have you been to this?
Oh,
this one?
exactly.
Like, no, just enjoy it. You know, like that's But
yeah.
So growing up,
I get people that say that to me all the time when I tell them I'm a Parks and Rec professor. And once they kind of quit laughing, because weirdly out here, everybody laughs whenever I tell them that. And I'm like, well, it is a degree, you know, people take care of our parks. Once I tell them about it, then they're like, oh, and then they do exactly that. Then they start listing off how many state parks and national parks they've been to. And I'm like, I'm not grading you here. I don't.
Like, oh yeah, have you ever been to this little tiny like
right?
It's an exquisite national park.
Yeah,
not many people have heard of it. Like,
and I'm like, well, good for you. I hope you had a good time. Well, I hope it was managed well.
Yeah, I think that the newest national park is the Fayetteville one, right? Am I mistaken? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's been a big deal for that area economically. Fayetteville, even in the past, I think like I really kind of became aware of it about maybe 20 years ago when I was in college. I would go to Cathedral Falls, which is between Charleston and Fayetteville. And there's just it's a beautiful natural waterfall that's just along the way there. And if you go during the right seasons, you know, you get the colors of the trees and all that. It's very, very beautiful. And that drive is just like oh my goodness, like there's still enough time for people to make a fall plans. The fall foliage is to die for there. I mean, it's amazing. People talk about like leafers in New England. I don't know
Yeah.
why people from Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, Virginia are not just taking that trip through, on the
Yeah.
interstate to just see this stuff. It's doesn't cost anything except for the gas, maybe some lunch or something, but to just drive through
Yeah.
there and just see the colors of the fall foliage. I mean, like you can see why people settled there, like
Right. Yeah.
it's a beautiful area. But oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna tell you about Fayetteville too. My buddy owns Charlie's Pub down there.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a raft guide as well, and he says that the first person to come up to him and say that he heard about Charlie's Pub on this podcast, they're gonna get a free beer from Ian.
All right.
So there you go.
I told you whenever you said that, I had a story about Charlie's. So Charlie's Pub is, so that's in Fayetteville there. When I said that I only drank the appropriate amounts.
That's what you do in Fayetteville is you drink
I think everyone in Charlie's that's ever been to Charlie's Pub has only drank the appropriate amount. But no, I remember it was like when I had first kind of rolled into town. I don't even think the season had started yet.
Okay.
So we were all, so it's like, what?
Never mind. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like, so the way that, so I worked at Ace Adventure Resort.
Okay.
So yeah. Yeah. So the way that we kind of trained back then, I don't know if things are still the same or not, but, you would come in like the end of February or March, and then like every weekend, you would go out on the river and train. So right in the real cold, scary times, it was like, you got to really, And so at night, we'd keep ourselves warm by drinking a lot. And so I went to Charlie's.
As you do.
As you do, right? You go through some shit on the river, and then it's like, well, let's all just have a drink. So I've got these two guys that I'm out with. Big Dick, I don't know. He made us call him that. Like, I don't think it really ever caught on. Yeah. If he's listening, I'm not going to say his real name. And then another big guy. So big, kind of your typical people that you're thinking of with raft guides. And so all night long, they were just like slamming Irish car bombs. And I was like, hell yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I'm a raft guide. I can do that. I'm like a 1.5 feet shorter than them and everything else. And like, all I know is, for one, good on them. Nicest guys in the world. They put me in a cab. Bet you didn't know there was cabs in Fayetteville. There's just as far as I know, there's just a woman with a gold Astro van. I don't know if she was a cab or not, but anyway, they put me in the cab, and then so she takes me to Ace. And so for the listeners at home, Ace is its own kind of compound. So you can like drive in the back way and get up on what's called Mountaintop, and that's where the guide campground is and things like that. But it's hard to find your way around at night in the dark. And so I had passed out on the way from Charlie's to Ace. This woman's like, "Who are you?" This was Nokia phone days, so it's just like. So she calls the Oak Hill Police Department. Oh, no. Oak Hill Police come.
Small town.
This is small town. Yeah. Oak Hill Police Department comes. They just find the last person in my phone, who happens to be a buddy who was up on Mountaintop. And they were just like, "Can you tell us how to get there?" So then the police came. They drove me to the top of Mountaintop, dropped me off. Just like, it looked like Lord of the Flies, just like a bunch of raft guides come out of their tents and are just like, "Katie," and they just grab me and take me to my tent. And then they paid the cops some money to give back to my cab driver in the gold Astro van. And so that's my story from Charlie's Pub. I mean, lots of good West Virginia anecdotes there. Cops were nice. Hopefully everybody's had that experience with them. So Charlie's, always a good time.
I'm beeping real quick. Alexa, stop that timer. I don't know why that was that, but that was like the raft guide stuff. When you pulled up and there's a cop car, did the raft guides like freak out? Because they're like, "Oh my God, why are the cops here?"
Well, it was because they had talked to my friend.
Oh, they knew.
So they knew. Yeah, so they were expecting them. Yeah. So it was, all I got to say is, thank goodness it wasn't like camera phone time because there's no footage.
Oh,
all of that just lives in everyone's memories. So
what's left of them?
Exactly. It may not even have happened. It may just be in my memory. I don't know. But yeah.
Well, that's wild.
That's what I think of when I think of Charlie's Pub.
Well, Ace is pretty cool. They like
Mhm.
they do. Were they doing shows and stuff there when you were there?
It was kind of just ramping up.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was there, the bar was still pretty small, but they were doing a lot of renovations to kind of make it bigger. And then when I went back and worked in marketing, they had already started Mountain Music Fest at that point,
Okay.
which is like a 3-day music fest. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Tyler Childers has been headlining it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
They've had like the Wood Brothers, and like they've had some pretty decent names come.
Yeah, it's like a legitimate festival. It's
Mhm.
like so that's been pretty exciting, and it's I'm really glad to see like the tourism in that area start to grow up, because I mean it is like just such a beautiful park. Like the new River
Yeah.
Gorge, and then that bridge, oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh,
I'm scared to death of it though, but yeah.
did you know that you can? Well, you probably do. There's like a walkway along the bottom.
Oh, yes. No.
So yeah,
I will not.
never. No. I,
I walked out on it on Bridge Day one
Yeah.
year, so where you're on top where you're supposed to, and I got halfway across it, and I freaked out.
Oh,
My husband was with me, and I was like, I'm not okay. Like, we got to get off this bridge right now. Like, for the listeners, this bridge is, what is it, like 870 something feet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a modern marvel. It's like one
Yeah.
of the, if you were making a list of wonders of the United States, it would be in consideration.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
a testament
crazy.
to how we used to deal with infrastructure in this country,
Mm-hmm.
and like they don't build stuff like that anymore. But the way that it's so important, because it connected parts of the country together, and it's just such a huge engineering thing, and but it's also beautiful, just the way that it contrasts like humanity with nature, just like it's just powerful.
Because that's it too, is like in rafting, we would take out right under it. So it's just like all day you've been in the gorge, you've done this, and then it's just like you see the big bridge from underneath way up there, and we get out. It's just like a nice way to cap the day, and it's just like that memorable moment.
And that sun setting, and like all the
yeah. Some days you've had a rough day on the water and you can't wait to see that bridge because it means you're almost done.
So since it is West Virginia, I'm gonna make an assumption here. Did you have a favorite flavor of moonshine?
I don't know. I mean, like, what do you mean a flavor?
Oh, so okay.
Like,
maybe
I would do the guy that would bring it would do blackberry.
Yeah, there's blackberry. There's like apple pie or apple cinnamon.
Oh yeah. Now, okay, I get you. I'm with you now. Because I was like, is it more than that? But yeah, okay. Yeah, a little cinnamon stick in there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different varieties. Like that's one of the things that that's I always try to find like a bottle when I go to West Virginia, but it's like a seasonal thing. It's such but it's definitely
we had an old guy who wasn't a guide. He just had a trailer there.
That's where you
he just had a trailer there on property, and so all of us, he'd cook and stuff, so all of us would go over there, but he always showed up. Every time when he showed up, he'd have all of his moonshine. I got with it lots of times. He broke it out. He was actually one of my husband's groomsmen.
Oh wow.
He broke it out. Yeah, my family got my whole family came from Illinois to the wedding and
Oh
everything. They
wow.
love it.
Oh yeah,
They
good, good,
can't.
good.
Yeah, they can't. Every time I go home, they ask me about the people. They ask me about when we're all going back. Yeah, they had a
Oh,
great time.
my
Yeah.
sister's about to get married in uh pretty much Fayetteville area, and so we're
Hmm.
really excited about that, just because like it's just such a good time, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, exactly. I think that's one of when we talk about a little bit of the difference between, West Virginia and LA, of course there's tons and everything else, but that's what um it's just the people in West Virginia are so nice. Just so and exactly who they are.
yeah.
Like it just kind of seems like nobody's trying to put on and be someone they're not.
Generally, I'd say that's
Which makes
true.
it so
Yeah.
welcoming.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Except for Jim Justice, who literally pretended to be a Democrat, and it was like,
Right.
surprise, I'm a Republican, but I'm gonna tell you to get vaccinated. Like it's just like all kinds
Right.
of masks coming out there. Like
He still hasn't figured out who he is yet. Yeah.
but we do love Baby Dog. He's got a big old dog named Baby Dog, and so this
Mm.
expression, which is "do it for Baby Dog," and that's how he tried to
Okay.
get West Virginians to get vaccinated. Was that he appealed
Oh,
to? Yeah,
really?
he's like, "Get vaccinated for Baby Dog."
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, but we got some pretty
So,
amazing people there. A little piece of
yeah.
important history, actually. It's
Yeah.
West Virginia is the site of it's in the southern coal fields, not too far from Fayetteville. Blair Mountain, which was,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and there's also a Matewan, and both.
Well, tell the listeners a little bit about Blair Mountain.
Okay, so Blair Mountain
Yeah.
was the biggest armed conflict in the United States on U.S. domestic soil since the Civil War. And what happened
Mm.
at Blair Mountain was basically a bunch of coal miners got together, and the conditions were terrible. They had like company towns. There was basically ways where people would have to exchange. I can't remember what they call it, but basically you exchange your wife for rent. Like that shit was going on in there,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
just they'd pay you in script, not dollars. They give you substandard company housing. Miners were pissed,
Yeah.
and so the miners are like, okay, well, we wanna join a union. The mine owners said, nope, nope, we can't do that, and so they bought a bunch of
Mhm.
Pinkertons in, like security guards, like a private military organization. And over the course of a little, like a couple months, things started to escalate, and there was actually like armed conflict between the miners and the Pinkertons, which of all
Mm.
ended up with getting the like troops sent in from the federal and state level. And so there was like basically military and security like fighting coal miners who just wanted to sign a union card, and that
Right.
and it definitely impacted the labor movement in this country. And it's kind of weird because West Virginia, like, this is like West Virginians spilled blood over being able to form a union, and a couple years ago
Mhm.
that went right to work. So like our ancestors,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? I mean, I don't know what you
Right.
politically or whatever. Like it's just kind of
Mhm.
like wherever you fall, you still have to honor the sacrifices that those generations made. And I think like
Exactly.
somebody died so that I could go and get a union card at Kroger. Yeah, like
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
and so like and you see where this happens and what coal has done to especially the or
Mhm.
the lack of it now. Um, it you see that in the coal fields and it hurts. Like there's a lot of missed
Yeah.
opportunity there. West Virginia, we exported our wealth on those trains. Every load of
Oh,
coal
yeah.
is profit going to a different place. It's feeding into a school system that like that's in a different location. Like most of the mine owners did
Mhm.
not live in those communities; they lived in other states, and
Yeah.
so when you're exporting the money and not building up, then you get what's kind of going
Mhm.
on in the coal fields, which is still very lovely. There's a
Yeah.
lot of history and a lot of stuff to do down there too.
Yeah.
There's a mine war museum. If organized
Mhm.
labor is kind of a thing you like,
Mhm.
there's another. No, we'll talk. And so that's there's another article
Yeah.
on foot.
Well, that's well, that's the alarming part about whenever we talk about and a lot of the kind of the Rust Belt area and stuff
Mhm.
like that is trying to do that with tourism of saying like tourism can come in and replace coal or
Yeah,
manufacturing or whatever. But hearing you say that, it's like that's how tourism is structured.
yeah,
Right? They come in, they set up,
yeah.
people have the money, and then you watch the money go away from the destination
Interesting.
oftentimes. So that's yeah. So it's one of those where it's like it can't,
Interesting.
it's not always the case,
Mhm.
but it is the majority of the case. And so it's almost like sometimes in places like that where they really need help with the economy within the
Mhm.
state and stuff, and you see them doubling down so much on tourism, you almost are just like just but be careful what you wish for,
Mhm.
because what that could also mean is Marriott's and resorts on the, well, now the New River Gorge is protected because it's a national park, but in other parts of the state that aren't protected. And yeah, so it's just like, oof, it's happened once, it could happen again.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And it's just you got to keep they got to keep their mind on keeping it local sometimes. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
one of the things that frustrates me about like the economic climate of West Virginia is that a lot of people are still waiting on King Cole to come back, but King Cole's dying.
Yeah.
He's on his deathbed.
Yeah.
The actual AEP, which is Appalachian Electric Power, the power
Mhm.
company literally said that our biggest customers, which are like Amazon and Walmart, like Facebook and stuff, um,
Mhm.
they want renewable energy. So we have to transition to something that's like solar powered or a turbine generate. So literally the biggest
Yeah.
customers of the power company is literally saying, we can't like our biggest clients want renewable energy. Coal's not. It doesn't matter how
Yeah.
much coal we mine if they're not burning it. Like
Right.
like and
Exactly. Yeah.
and so like it is important
Yeah.
to find other economic opportunities and
Mhm.
I think that like what you're saying about like oh yeah like bad stuff leads into tourism. I
Yeah.
think it can also hopefully in West Virginia's case you bring people in
Yeah.
who just fall in love with the state like my good
Mhm.
buddy Joe, who's a city councilor in Charleston, West Virginia. He's originally from New York.
Mhm.
He moved in. He just loves the place. He loved it
Yeah.
enough to try to get involved in local politics, and uh,
Oh, okay.
and it's there's
Yeah.
a lot of people like Joe.
Yeah.
Basically West Virginia transplants.
Yeah. Well, what do you think though about that? So, as someone again who's grown up there, I experienced from the tourists who would
Mhm,
come down the river and stuff. Um, a lot of times, and this is where a lot of the biggest competition when we're talking about rafting.
mhm,
I know there's so many other parts of tourism in West Virginia, but from rafting, it's like you've got to get a family to kind of choose between that Colorado,
mhm.
you know, style and that West Virginia style. And to a family it might not matter as much of like, well, West Virginia has the better river.
Yeah,
It's like the whole experience.
yeah,
And so that's what when we would get tourists come, sometimes it's the stereotypes, it's the
yeah.
stuff like that about West Virginia
Yes.
that they had in their mind, and they would just kind of be like, "Well, I was expecting to see on the way here, a couple of hillbillies with a banjo on the front
Yeah,
porch,"
yeah.
and and I was like, "Well, I mean, for one, we did go through Minden. I mean, there were people on the front
You
porch,
weren't looking,
but
weren't paying attention.
yeah, exactly. But it's like." but then also it's like, and if that is their way of life, then why is it something that you're mocking? Why is
Right.
it? And so it's like, so do you, like, what do you, when you interact with kind of tourists and stuff, and do you think that there is an image issue or there is something? Like, what do you think the outsiders coming in?
West Virginia has
Pick
a
your brain on this.
very complicated, history. As you know, like there's very complex. It's a socially, economically oppressed culture, and we're very, very
Mm-hmm.
sensitive about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea of everybody's just, barefoot hillbillies. That's not that's a
Mm-hmm.
stereotype that doesn't really. I mean, like it exists, but
Right.
there's far more people like you and I in West Virginia
Right.
than you
Right.
might
Yeah.
expect. And so, like, I think that one of the things that it's like, if you're gonna make fun of West Virginia, be more creative than you shoeless hillbilly or you like
Right.
inbreeding. Like that's a Kentucky thing. No, Southern Ohio, they love that. That's where all that sister and stepsister stuff on the naughty sites is coming from. They get that in Southern Ohio. No, uh, but
No, every state's got to have a state they talk shit about. Yeah.
I like making fun of southeastern Ohio, even though some of my friends are there. They're awesome people, but come on.
Yeah.
You just want to be West Virginia. It's like flat West
Right.
Virginia. uh, there's no laughing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's one of the things is that to kind of like respect where you're at. Like another place that I'll throw
Mhm.
out here where you see some bad examples of ways people
Mm.
behave, and this is Morgantown, West Virginia.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't know if you know the reputation of Morgantown, but it was a continual top party school
Mm.
in like the country, the world. Like annually, they like retired it from the list. E- every night, uh, every night, somebody has gotten drunker than they have ever gotten before in Morgantown. Like that's it.
Mm.
Just does that to people. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of transplants out of state students who come to WVU because it's a decent school. It's a they've got actually some
Mhm.
very highly rated programs that, like, some of the academics are way better than you would
Yeah.
expect. But at the
Mhm.
same time, you got people who go there because it's the party. It is the party, party,
Mm.
party, party, um,
Mhm.
and sometimes they lose, some of the people from the other places, out of state students, lose track of the fact
Mhm.
that that this is not just where you go and like smash your bottles all over, like just
Yeah.
because you're having a good time and raging, you don't need to destroy where you're at. You don't have to be an asshole. Like,
Right.
like you can clean up after yourself, like make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
You don't have to just completely rage through the town and be like, "Oh, fuck these poor
Yeah.
people." That, like that's.
Yeah.
I think that's something that kind of annoys a lot of people, is when people just have the
Mm.
intent of going out. I'm gonna shit all over this. Oh, this is a good
Yeah.
example of it. So my mother-in-law, she lives in Richwood, West
Mhm.
Virginia, and she
Okay.
works with the Chamber of Commerce there and does a lot of stuff to bring in businesses to their downtown area. They're on the
Mhm.
opposite side of Summersville Lake, which
Oh,
yeah, this is
okay.
the cool spot. This is
Yeah.
where you go when you don't want a bunch of people around. And she does a bunch of stuff in that community, like to encourage outdoor stuff such as a triathlon. There's a
Mm.
lot of good fishing and boating in
Nice.
that area, and just also
Yeah.
beautiful during the fall. My wife and I got married there a couple years
Okay,
ago, and
nice.
it was just so picturesque and beautiful. And so one of the things that happens with her, and as far as so we one of the things they do is uh, uh, Richwood, West Virginia, in addition to being a place where a lot of lumber comes from, believe it or not,
Mm,
is the
okay.
ramp capital of the world. Are you?
You're going to have to tell our listeners
Oh,
what a ramp
okay.
is, probably.
So ramps are this super stinky, extra potent, like onion, like vegetable, I guess, a root
Yeah.
vegetable, and it takes like 8 years for them to grow or something. So they're kind of unusual. They grow specifically well in the Richwood area of West Virginia, along the New River and such.
Okay.
Um, and um, and so they're kind of a delicacy. Like every year somebody will load up like a truck, like a box truck of them, and drive them up to like New York
Mm.
City and sell them at for high dollars to Michelin
Oh.
chefs and shit. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and so like it's a delicacy that people like. So my mother-in-law helps run this thing called the Feast of the Ramison, I think, and it's at
Okay.
the Richwood Community Center. Or no, it's at the school. They're at like an elementary school a couple years ago, and there were people from like Vice that showed up, and like would roll up in there,
Okay.
and they're just like fucking making fun of people. You know, they're just this shithole town.
Uh,
It's like, okay, like maybe like at least wait till you get back to the hotel. You
right,
know, like
right.
if you know, like there's no like we're I can hear you. You know,
Yeah.
like we're not. I live in LA. Like you know, like
Yeah,
fuck
right.
off. Like you're not that cool.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
and you know the the ramp dinner is pretty fun though because it's a
Mhm.
not your highest class meal the way they do it there because it's a
Right.
festival and you get a plate of ramps and some
Mhm.
ham and like mashed potatoes or something and it's all right. It's like a community thing. They gather, they get money, they celebrate something that's part of their heritage and their culture. And it's like, you
Yeah.
know, I don't go other places and make fun of that. You know, like I not except for
Right.
southeastern Ohio.
And who's going to Southeast Ohio anyway? Come on.
But yeah,
We'll just make that our kicking post. Yeah.
so I don't understand that. It's like why you're not better, you're just different. And that's what's great about this
Exactly.
country and the way states are. Like I
Mhm.
don't fit 100% in West Virginia. I love it.
Mhm.
But you know, uh my activities, my hobbies, I need elsewhere. You know, my brain is elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
love the fact that the people who live there love it. You know,
Mhm.
you understand why when you see why people stay there for generations, even though you know it's economically depressed. It has some maybe not,
Yeah.
politics some people don't agree with. Like it's a
Mhm.
super majority and all that, and those are
Yeah.
definitely concerns. But the thing is that you don't have to live there. Nobody's forcing you to live there. Nobody forces me
Right.
to live in California. And so like that's a beautiful thing about this country is that's available if you so it's like yeah, I make fun of West Virginia in my act, but that's because to me I'm kind of yeah, punching upward because some of those people
Yeah.
were making I'm weird. And so so people like don't quite they've always been polite but they don't know how to deal. I get a lot of like where are you from
Mhm.
and I'm like I'm from about a mile away from here and they're no where are you from originally. I'm like no, from Charleston, West Virginia. Like I was born in the
Yeah.
hospital over there and lived there. And so you get like a little bit of a
Yeah.
weird thing and I always felt a little bit like an outsider outside of my circle of
Mm.
friends and family. um
Yeah.
and so that's a little bit odd.
But yeah, I mean, and I think that's it too, is it's and what we talk about, that's why I say like with people and curating this traveler identity that they have, um, it's almost like when they go into a state like West
Mhm.
Virginia or another southern state or something like that, or I'm from Southern Illinois, and it's
Mhm.
like so as part of that identity, it is always like I'm better. So instead of going in and experiencing the place and doing what tourism's supposed to
Yeah.
be and learning about their culture, learning about stuff, it's like I'm going to go in there to show people how much better I
Yeah,
am.
yeah. And
And it's just like, you know what? We don't need you. if that's what you're going to do.
We don't need you to give us a real life version of The Simple Life with Paris Hilton.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like that's
we've like turned into that. Yeah. Like all of society. Has.
Yeah, and that sucks. Like, don't do that. Like, you don't need to be that kind of a tourist where you're just like, oh, this is gross. It's like, oh, that's ugly.
Right. Or like, look at how stupid these people are. And it's just like, you don't even know what's happening. Like what you say with the Vice people, it's like, you don't even know what's going on right now.
Well,
and yeah.
West Virginia's had a history of some brilliant people too. There's Katherine Johnson, who helped get people on the fucking moon. And,
God damn it.
Chuck Yeager was another influential person.
Yeah.
Go faster than the speed of sound.
Yeager Airport there.
Now, I have a love-hate thing with Yeager because it's about $200 more than anywhere else to fly in and out of.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it just because it's
small?
Like,
that's
gotcha.
The issue actually is the lack of regional airport in the vicinity.
I could see that.
A few years ago, they really kind of missed out on it. They were talking about building one in the coal fields, which would have been an appropriate and probably a good location because mountaintop removal mines leaves a lot of empty flat space.
There you go. One thing it does do, gives you some flat spaces.
And they kind of just bone that because there's a good old boys network in West Virginia, and I'm pretty sure that that's what killed the regional airport. Is they're like, well, why don't we just make Yeager a little bit bigger? And it's a nice small airport. It's really easy to navigate. Like, it's probably less than the size of a terminal of LAX.
I remember. Going in and out of there. Yeah, from where I was headed, you always had to turn on Dudley Drive.
Oh, wow.
You're like,
all right.
I was like, they love me so much they named the roads after me.
I got Griffith Park out here.
Oh, that's true. You got a whole damn park.
Sometimes I tell people that, and I'm like, well, I hope they don't know that Griffith W. Griffith was crazy and like.
Oh yeah.
Like no relation.
You're like, don't think too much about it.
Park, except I'm not related. Like that's
right.
But yeah, that's the whole.
I have a question for you though. Speaking of the people picking and choosing what parts this is just I just want to know your opinion. What's your opinion on old country roads? There,
country roads.
The song.
Okay, I hate
and the use of it everywhere.
I generally love it. I like that there's something that is instantly recognizable about my home. That's associated with my home state. The only thing is that little piece of trivia. West Virginia just fit the song better. It was originally written about a little south and east of West Virginia in Virginia. The Blue Ridge Mountains are in Virginia for the most part.
Yeah.
And, but thank goodness John Denver was such a good songwriter that he realized that West Virginia works better than Virginia.
Exactly.
So thank you, John Denver, for being an artist. Because I don't know if
nobody
wouldn't even know what West Virginia is without that.
That's
song.
what I was gonna say. I think half the country wouldn't even know about West Virginia if we didn't have that song.
It's international, actually. It's really weird. You run into people sometimes here in LA. Even you'll run into nationals from other places, and they'll be like, "I'm from Charleston, West Virginia," and they'll be like, "Oh, country roads, take me home." But here's another thing that I got to get off my chest. We are not motherfucking Virginia, okay?
Okay. Heard it here.
Now, this might be a little offensive. So West Virginia is the one that looks like the middle finger.
Oh.
This is where I'm from. Yeah, this is what Michiganders do, right? Like, so this is West Virginia. I'm not flipping you off. This is.
Oh yeah.
That's where I'm from, right there. So we got the state of West Virginia. And
Uh-huh.
Virginia is over here. This is where Country Roads was written. But
Mm-hmm.
this is West Virginia. This is Virginia. Not the same place. Uh,
Not the same.
if you want to, that's what probably the most frustrating thing that I encounter being from West Virginia is the amount of times that people go, "Oh yeah, so what's it like in Virginia? Oh, is your family in Virginia? Is your how's Virginia this time of year?" It's like, no, I live in West Virginia. West Virginia.
Yeah.
We seceded from Virginia during the Civil War.
Right. Yeah.
Why are there Confederate flags in some places of West Virginia? I don't know. I mean, like, we were a Union state, not a slave.
I know. There's some parts, yeah, that's odd. Some things that bring questions.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, Nick, we're going to start to wrap it up here. But so we've talked about all kinds of great places and hopefully enticed a lot of listeners here, if you haven't been to West Virginia, to go to West Virginia, because there's so many parts of the state that are great to see. But one thing that we like to do with the listeners is help them be a more responsible tourist, help them not make it into our headline game.
Oh, yeah.
So if you could just give some advice to people who are planning to visit West Virginia to be a better tourist, what are some things that you might tell them?
Okay, so the pace of life is a little slower in West Virginia. You might not, like, one thing to keep in mind is that there's a joke where they call it almost heaven because everybody's so old. And so that's something to consider as well. One thing that I would recommend though is that most of the towns and main streets are perfectly safe, wonderful places to go. You don't want to go up certain hollers, so to speak. So, like, if you're driving around on back roads and you don't know where you're going, you do want to be cautious driving up, like, especially like a gravel holler, because sometimes the locals don't like that. Once you go up into the hollers, stick with a local if you're going to do stuff like that. But you shouldn't be doing that anyway. That's how you're going to end up on that list. Is that
right?
Tourist goes out the wrong holler, and it's Mike's holler, and he's and so that there's problems like that. But generally, like, as long as you stay like in the townships, you're gonna be it's perfectly safe and all that. Now, West Virginians are also curious people. That's another thing to keep in mind. That like it's the kind of thing where they might yell at something on the news, like certain types of people or demographics, but then if you actually talk with them, a lot of times individually, one-on-one, they're far kinder than you might hear on like if you like read the comment section of something. It's not like that on the ground in real life in West Virginia. On the ground in life in West Virginia, people are kind, they'll help you. One thing that we get a lot of is that there's people who sometimes there's disasters out there. And I remember that when my sister was helping people recover after a flood, she would drive out the places, and there would be entire properties just completely devastated, lost, everything gone. And the people would go, well, you know what? There's other people who got hit worse than we did. Why don't you go help them? And that
oh wow,
yeah, and you're like, buddy, you don't have a house now. Like, that's
right.
How much worse could the other people have it? Like, and so like there's that kind of pride, but also like that just wanting to take care of other people and making sure that you're being nice to your neighbors. It's and have fun.
And I think that's to kind of add on to that type of thing where it's like when we talk about tourism, right, it is in a lot of people in a lot of destinations, the locals are very proud to show off who they are and everything else. So if they're inviting you and showing you the hospitality to come in, then it's on you to show that politeness back, right?
Exactly.
Don't come in and mock people or make fun of people or think you're better than people when they're taking the time to show you that hospitality.
And it's
Yeah.
just a completely, like West Virginia is what you make of it. There's plenty of arts and culture. There's outdoor stuff. Anybody who gets bored in West Virginia is not looking hard enough.
Yeah.
It's I got like one of the big festivals that's coming up. There's a regatta in Charleston, West Virginia.
Okay.
And that's pretty awesome because they bring in like big acts, like music acts. And it's still like they used to do this show for years and then it lapsed for a while, but it's back. And people used to take vacations around this, like from around the region because of the it's free concerts.
Gotcha.
But if you're in Charleston, I have another quick plug.
Okay.
There's a bar called the Blue Parrot, and there's another.
Okay.
I have a buddy there. If you go, that's another place. The first person to go to that bar and say that they heard about the Blue Parrot from this podcast, the bartender will get you a free beer. The first person. So
wow. Look at this, folks. You go to West Virginia and you've got 2 beers already paid for.
And if you climb the stairs in Richwood, there's like a tower where you can climb up and see the whole area. It's a fire tower, I think by the Forest Service, actually. Then my mother-in-law will give you a sticker that said that you climbed it. So there's another bonus.
All right. Look at that. Yeah, we can somebody could just plan, make their whole vacation itinerary from this.
I got one more. There's a statue in downtown Charleston, West Virginia by an artist. He actually did the World War II memorial at the West Virginia State Capitol Complex. Awesome place to go, by the way. There's a museum in it and a cultural center. The grounds are amazing. But that guy, he designed that memorial. He has a street art thing called the Mortar Man. And it's a little thing that's I think it's on Capitol Street. If somebody sends me a picture of the Mortar Man, and I will send them a gift card from Domino's Pizza. So,
Whoa!
Send those pictures and make sure you tag this podcast in that too. So that's just
all right. I'm loving this. Yeah. We're gonna get some folks to West Virginia this summer. Pizza and beer.
I gotta
and rafting.
Shout out real quick to the Transatlantic Allegheny Lunatics Asylum. It's in yes, it's in Weston, West Virginia. They have recreated this mental asylum from way back to be in its original space. It's beautiful. You have to look it up, especially for like spooky shit. They have tours through there. That's awesome.
So is it so it's not just like a rundown thing, like they have spruced it back up and you can
tour it.
Oh,
a place where they have
that's out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
but yeah,
people who like that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's to die for. You can make a nice little trip of it. There's a place called Ice Cream Sunday in Ripley, West Virginia. You drive on the west end, you go to the Lunatic Asylum. There's also a in let's see, the Flatwoods, West Virginia. They have the Flatwoods Monster, and there's a place you can go for that. In Point Pleasant, West Virginia, that's where Mothman is from. And statue.
Mothman has made a resurgence, hasn't he? On social media, I think.
So, they have a big metal statue. It's got a badonk on it. It's kind of a meme. And that's in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. There's a lot of interesting history with that I'm not going to get into. If you want to see where the original January 6th is, you can go to the Blennerhassett Mansion and Parker Square. Oh, you don't know about that one? Okay.
No.
Blennerhassett Island. And this involves Aaron Burr trying to assassinate Jefferson. And they tried to arm a rebellion on this island, and it's outside of Parkersburg, West Virginia. That's super
Okay.
interesting. Harper's
That's
Ferry in
crazy.
the Panhandle,
Mm.
a very important cultural site. That's where John Brown led the raid against slave owners. He tried to start the Civil War there. Um, there's,
Yeah.
let's see, we got Wheeling. There's a Hare Krishna temple that was infiltrated. There's a book called Monkey on a Stick that's about rainbow
Mhm.
people and like a hippie culture taking over and like
Oh,
murdering people.
yeah,
There's also some of that in
yeah.
yeah, and Richwood, where I was talking about earlier. So there's all kinds of just like super
Yeah.
interesting things like that. You want to see a WVU game, go to Huntington, West Virginia, hang out at Pullman Square and their art
Yeah.
museum. Lewisburg, West Virginia is wonderful. Go to White Sulphur Springs where the Greenbrier is. Uh, and they
Yeah.
have NFL camps there. Super fun stuff.
Yeah, don't the Saints is it the Saints that
Yeah,
go
and
to the
the
Greenbrier or
and
something?
Patriots were
Yeah.
doing it for a little while too. And then I think just one
Uh,
more major shout out, which is make
yeah.
sure you're eating Tudor's Biscuit World.
Oh, of course. Tutors. My husband's in the next room and just finally paid attention and put his thumb up. Yeah. Hell yeah. Tutors for sure.
So I think that's all my random shout outs. But the thing is that I'm trying to squeeze so much in because there's so much to do. And and here's
Yeah.
the other thing is like for you, like cheapskates out there. I'm a cheap guy. You can get I get like red carpet in Charleston, West Virginia, Blue Parrot. My bar tab's only like $20, and yeah. So like
And then you get one of those off of
yeah,
there if you shout out this
yeah,
podcast. So
exactly. Like
$15,
yeah.
folks. You can have yourself a
Oh,
night.
you can, and
Yeah.
you'll get yourself a memory too. You know, it's good times.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's great. And I love that you highlighted so much of that stuff because it is true. And I am primarily in the outdoor rec part of it. But just like you mentioned, there's so much
Yeah,
history with West Virginia and just fascinating history with West Virginia that just I don't think a lot of people in other parts of the country even know exist.
yeah,
And you brought up too of like our country's history,
yeah. Well, do you
like
know
or
the
unions
Greenbrier bunker?
and
Uh, that's
yeah.
fascinating.
Tell them real quick what
So
that
at
is.
the
Yeah.
Greenbrier during World War II and such, when they were developing, they're worried about getting attacked. At the Greenbrier Resort and White Sulphur Springs, they built a government that was going to house the entire U.S. government from from Washington D.C. And you can go to that bunker. And it's crazy
Yeah.
because people didn't know about it. Like it's a huge
Yeah.
facility, and it was just hidden in the mountains. Like the only way there was like some ventilation in some hills, and that's the only reason people knew about
Yeah.
that. But there's all kinds of secrets like that, and then stuff like Bridge Day. I mean,
Yeah.
like the
Mhm.
I think you can. They're still letting people jump. I think like that's the crazy
Yeah.
thing about it. Like I don't like that festival.
Yeah.
Like people can base jump from the bridge.
From that bridge. Yeah.
I,
I think that's what like was the final kicker for me because I got halfway. And so you're on this bridge just
you
over
did
this
it. You did it.
gorge. And so
Oh,
no, no, no. But
you were
I was walking out there. So then it's just like the wind is whipping at you, and you're just like, there's just like not a lot between me. And then right next to you, you've got these base jumpers who are just jumping off the bridge. And it's just like, I can't handle this. My brain can't handle this. I got to get off this bridge right now. Yeah, but it is cool. It's nice to watch them from the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. And then you go get a secret sandwich society sandwich afterwards, and it's
Yeah. All kinds of places. All right, Nick. Well, thank you for coming on, talking a little bit, opening our eyes a little bit more about West Virginia, all the things that West Virginia has to offer. Is there anything that any of your social media or websites or anything that you want to plug on here too? We're going to put it all in the notes, but for the
I'm
listeners.
available at Fake Nick Griff is my handle on pretty much. I don't do Twitter, but at Fake Nick Griff, and that's going to be on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I also have a podcast that's Short Commute with Nick Griffith. That's on Spotify. And so those are, and then, I do comedy. I got some shows coming up at Flappers and a couple things on TV. So you can check that all out on, yeah, it's cool. But mostly, I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about some of the lesser known things about a really underrated state. Another thing that I'm going to throw out there is that there's an incentive for remote workers to move there too.
Oh, I have seen that. Yeah. How much do you get? Like 12,000, or maybe a down payment on a house, something like that.
Houses are not expensive. You can still get a house sub 100,000, but that's enough.
Which is insane.
And
Yeah. And 2 free beers. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, how could you not go? All right. Well, thanks a lot. So for the listeners, then that brings us to the end of our episode. For more deep dives into all things tourism, you can follow us at You're a Tourist or subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And until then, remember, you're a tourist and it's okay. The first step to getting better is admitting it.